of Dandenong, and away they go, and the umpire's there, and the big Pritchard thumps it out towards the waiting hands of Port Melbourne are immediately into attack, and Lee Taylor couldn't hold it up as Chris Hollow gets the handball away, but he handballs it straight to a Port Melbourne player, and they head for home, and they've scored the first goal, and that's a great goal to Port Melbourne. Hollow is there, pushes it out towards Bradley Gotcha, I think it is, at the bottom of the pack, and it goes out to the waiting hands of Donahue, and he drives it down, and Jack Marshall thumps it out. And can Lee Taylor take it? No, he can't. Oh, and that's a tackle far too high, and play on calls the umpire, and he's paid the free kick against Michael Kennedy, and it's no good Kennedy arguing the kick's gone squarely and fairly against him. Well, you can only imagine trying to talk himself out of it, but that's absolutely no good, because the free kick has been won, and you got to marshal your troops and make sure that everyone's in position. All right, in they come, and Port Melbourne line this up, and he drills it for home, and it's another one, I would think. Yes, that's another goal to Port Melbourne, and those scores are locked. No, they're not. Dandenong by 1 point. See any common sense in that? That's just rubbing it into players. That's ridiculous. No. Towards Port Melbourne, and play on, and that's no good standing on the mark, whoever that was there, because Justin Paul has got it at centre half forward. The Dandenong player, I think it was Dennis Knight, tried to bluff the umpire, and Knight is limping, as Justin Paul has got this I'm calling Justin Paul. Right, he's got it at centre half forward, and he's proven what a good kick is, and that's no exception, and that's right through the middle, and Port Melbourne hit the front. Port Melbourne go to 76 to Dandenong 70, and they're on a... All right, Milligan gets it down towards Darren Burke, gets it off the ground to Sean Mullane. Sean Mullane flicks it over quickly over the top of his head, and can Brent Dow run onto this? No, he can't, and Magro can't get it there. Magro's put it through. It's a goal to Dandenong. Little one Magro got this one, and full marks to the boy. We've given him a bit of a serve throughout the day, but that one he was right onto it, and he used his nous very, very well indeed, and put Dandenong back on level terms with Port Melbourne. The greatest forward dealers in metropolitan Melbourne is going to go to Darren Burke. Yes, it can. Burke's into Darren Hall. Darren Hall can handball over the top to Danny Cassette. Danny Cassette back to Hall. Kick at Darren Hall, and he does just that. It's a goal to Dandenong. Gary Milligan in there with Michael Laffey. Laffey got his hand to it, and Port Melbourne do it, and they come out of the pack, and that's a goal to Port Melbourne, and they're back in front. Switch in there. Up they go, and the ball goes towards... Milligan got it out, and it goes towards Darren Burke. Sean Mullane is there, and the ball comes out, but it comes to the waiting hands of number 26, I think it is, in Michael 29, and that's a mark to Jack Marshall. They to do something about it as Magro lines them up from out... Oh, that's a nice kick, and to nearly take all that back, and that's a good-looking kick, and it's a goal to Dandenong. It's a goal, you watch. Yes, it's a goal to Dandenong. I'm not sure whether it might have been Sean Mullane, to be honest. Greatest forward. 20 minutes gone of the coffee forward, 4 and a quarter, and Paul Brown chips it in short to Bradley Gotch, and the little fellow hasn't let him down. I don't think it's Bradley Gotch, actually. Yes, it is. It is Bradley Gotch. Right, 50 metres. That's the first one he's paid. And now, what can Dandenong do now? Where's Gary Milligan? Where's Andrew Lacko? Right, and Bradley Gotch comes to this side of the ground, and who's under it but no one but a Port Melbourne player, and Sean Mullane, and the umpire comes in as Sean Mullane yells something at somebody, I know not what. Dandenong, and Sean Mullane is there. Can he trap it? Yes, he can, and Mullane is out of bounds, and the umpire doesn't notice it, and oh, that's far too high, and and Dandenong's got the free kick. That was a pretty ordinary tackle, and the Port Melbourne boy hurt himself too, so let's hope they're both all right. And they're calling for the trainers. I'd say that player's out cold, and Sean Mullane's call for the stretcher. Andrew Lacko's call for the stretcher. Well, they've got to get the stretcher straight out. If that's what's done, Alec Ladd, the runners there, certainly within kicking distance, with Dandenong at 88 to Port Melbourne 84, and there'll be a lot of time on, and see if we can pick up who that is, Ryan, coming off for Port Melbourne. Let's hope the boy's all right as a crowd. Give him a bit of a clap so he's okay. Gary Broughton is there. And Gary will look after things there for me for a minute till I can get down and see the boy. Right, let's get on with this what's at hand now as Sammy Magro has got this ball just 20 metres out. The angle is quite severe and he lets this one go, and I think that's a goal to Dandenong. It's a beautiful goal, and Magro has contributed 2 rippers here in the last few minutes as Dandenong now go to 94, a 10-point margin, 12-15, 94 to, or 13-15 is it, Ryan? I can't quite see, or 16 is it? Have a look at the scoreboard, son. Aren't your eyes good enough? 16 or points? 16 points. 13-16, thank you. 12-12 Port Melbourne. Up they go. Milligan gets it down and Bradley Gotch comes through. Can he quite take it? Darren Burke gets it out and it goes out to the... and Andrew Lacko chips it out now, and Port Melbourne swoop onto this and they've done very well. Up it goes and Jack Marshall's under it. There's a big centre half forward and Gary Milligan is there and Port Melbourne are pushing it out and Milligan has got it and he can't get it out and the handball out in front of the Hill crowd, and Dandenong have got a 10-point margin now at 13-16, 94. To Port Melbourne 12-12-84 on the Coffee Ford scoreboard. Up they go, the big ruckman there, Milligan, and he pushes it down, but Port Melbourne have pinched it. And under it is Johnny Kanarakis and the opposition player as it goes through for a goal to Port Melbourne. And all clear, says the umpire, and it's back to 4 points. Up in the social club as the ball comes down, and Milligan will take this out of the pack. Can he get it out to Bradley Gotch? Bradley Gotch chips it on. Milligan is there and there. Richard Wicks is, and they can't get it out. And Port Melbourne get away with it, and they're heading towards goal. But that ball's trapped. Bradley Gotch is there, and the Port Melbourne players, and they can't get it out on Dandenong, and it's stacks on the mill as Bradley Gotch gets it out, but it's pinched by Port Melbourne, and he puts it behind his back, and he's done very well indeed. He gets it down towards, and Darren Hall will have to go in front. Oh, put him under pressure as Port Melbourne chip it out, and Jack Marshall's behind this big fellow who's cut Dandenong to ribbons, this big fellow at number 44. And there's only minutes to go, and he chips it in short, and they're in front there, and Port Melbourne, and it's gone to Andy McKinnon, and Port Melbourne have hit the front. Well, that's an ordinary sort of performance there. Went spilt short to Andy McKinnon, and he was quick to get it as Paul Brown picks himself up off the ground, comes to the bottom of the pack, and Sean Mullane gets it out, but it goes to Port Melbourne, and Dean Burnell was caught behind there, and you've got to get in front, mate. Port Melbourne are letting the clock run down. That's good experience. Right, Andy McKinnon's on his own as Bradley Gotch finally comes in to try and stop that as the player runs down. And no one's minding McKinnon anyway. He doesn't worry because, oh, that's a boomer kick. That's a magnificent kick. That's another goal to Port Melbourne. That's the sealer. That's a wonderful goal from him a bit at the moment too. And there's that fellow again, and he's absolutely, and that'll be 50 metres, Jack. Well, you were very lucky. Right, he's done very, very well, this big bloke. How many has he kicked, do you reckon?
4.
4. And he's done a lot of damage. Right, the siren's going to beat Dandenong. There'd be no hope if this is a score. Not that long, I don't think. Right, in he comes, and that's a nice kick off the boot, and that's another goal to Port Melbourne. That's another goal. And Port Melbourne have got this, and they kick it out wide, and Hicks is lurking, and Hicks has got it, and chips it back in towards centre half forward, and a teammate there in Sean Bowden. He looks as though he's going to bury the coffin for Dandenong, and he hasn't had a great day, Bowden, but he certainly got this one, and it's going to be awfully important because they'll remember this one if he forgets his first 3 that he tried to kick. There's the siren, and Port Melbourne have won. Port Melbourne 16-13, 109 to Dandenong 13-16, 94 on the Coffee Ford scoreboard as the ball sails through for a point. So it's 16-14, 110, and that's a winning margin of 16 points to Port Melbourne, and we say good afternoon from Shepley Oval.